All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest concepts in cybersecurity, zero trust. And we're going to break it down so it's super simple to understand.
So, let me ask you something. What if your entire security strategy was built on one simple, powerful rule? Never trust, always verify. That simple idea, that's the entire philosophy behind zero trust.
Now, to really get why this is such a game changer, we got to take a step back and look at the old way of doing things. You'll see pretty quickly why it just doesn't work anymore. Okay, so for years and years, think of cybersecurity like a medieval castle. You had this big, strong outer wall. That's your firewall, and maybe a moat around it. The goal was simple: keep the bad guys out and assume everyone on the inside is safe and trusted. But think about today. Where is the inside of the company anymore? You got people working from home, apps in the cloud, personal phones connecting to everything. That old castle wall, it's basically crumbled away.
And this is where you see the huge, glaring problem with that old model. Once a bad guy gets over that wall, maybe they stole a password, they're in. And because they're inside, they're trusted. They can go wherever they want, access all kinds of sensitive files, and just cause chaos. The system just assumes they belong there.
And that is exactly why we need a new approach. So let's talk about the zero trust revolution. It's a security model built for the world we actually live in.
So, what is zero trust, really? Well, it completely throws that old trusted inside idea out the window. Instead, it runs on that one core principle: never trust, always verify. It doesn't care if you're sitting in the CEO's office or at a coffee shop halfway across the world. Every single request is treated as potentially hostile until it proves otherwise.
This quote right here just nails it. Since that network perimeter doesn't really exist anymore, you have to build your security around something else. And that something else is identity: who you are, what device you're using, and where you're coming from. Okay, that sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Well, the thing to remember is that zero trust isn't some magic box you can buy. It's a whole strategy, and it's built on 3 really clear guiding principles. These are the rules of the game.
And it all boils down to these 3 golden rules. First, verify explicitly. Second, use least privilege access. And third, assume breach. Let's dive into what each of these really means.
All right, first up, verify explicitly. This basically means you're always asking, who are you really, and are you actually allowed to do that? And you ask it every single time. It's not just a password. The system is constantly checking all these different data points: your identity, your location, the health of your device, before it lets you in anywhere.
Number 2, use least privilege. Now this one is huge. Think about it like this. Instead of giving every employee a master key that opens every door in the building, you only give them the key to the one room they actually need to be in, and only for the time they need it. If their account ever gets compromised, the damage is massively contained.
And finally, number 3, assume breach. I know it sounds a little dark, right? But it's actually genius. You build your system with the assumption that the bad guys are already in. So you create these little segmented zones, like watertight compartments on a ship. If one area gets breached, the attacker is trapped there and can't move around to other parts of the network. It keeps the damage contained to one small area.
Okay, so that's the theory. Makes sense, right? But what does this look like in the real world, day to day? Let's move from the what to the how.
You know, the way it's enforced is actually way simpler than you might think. At its heart, a zero trust policy is really just a series of if-then statements. If a certain set of conditions are true, then a certain action happens. So here's how it works. The if part is all about collecting signals, all about context. The system asks, who is this user? Where are they logging in from? Is the device they're using secure and up to date? And the then part? That's the decision the system makes. Based on all those signals, it can grant access, block it completely, or maybe ask for another form of proof.
Okay, let's put this into practice with an example we can all understand. Just trying to check your work email.
So in a zero-trust world, getting into your email is way more than just typing in a password. The policy might say something like this. If someone tries to log into their email, then they absolutely must, 1, use multi-factor authentication, 2, they must be on a device that the company recognizes as safe and compliant, and 3, maybe they even have to be connecting from a trusted location. If all those boxes are checked, great, you're in. If not, access denied. See? That's verifying explicitly in real time.
So let's wrap this all up. Why is this so incredibly important right here, right now? Well, it all boils down to one powerful central idea.
In our modern world, where the lines of the network are blurred or gone completely, your identity is the new perimeter. It's the last line of defense. Securing the user has become more important than securing a network that doesn't really have any edges anymore.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. The old way cared about where you were on the network. Zero Trust cares about who you are. The old model just trusted you if you were inside. The new one demands explicit verification for everything, every time. It really is the difference between building one big wall and putting a smart, strong lock on every single door.
So I'll leave you with this one last question. If you were starting from scratch, building a security system for today's world, would you really just build one tall wall and hope for the best? Or would you make sure you checked every single door?